if you're going to cheat, you're at least not going to cheat right in front of my face. So pencils go down. We can have a highlighter if we want. But if you want to just like, if you want to try to copy somebody else's bike riding, which would be silly. Like, I don't know how you would exactly do that. Like, I guess this is me riding the bike, right? I guess if you want to hop on the back of my bike, I do have one of those little things in the bags, and I guess you could hop on the back. Does that help you riding a bike? No. Will it get you where you're trying to go, like your homework done? Sure, maybe. But when it comes to the mastery, and you get asked to show that you know how to do this, it might not work out. So, by the way, I'm also not dumb with, like, we don't do homework in highlighter. So don't think that right now you can just write this in like, we don't do homework in highlighter. We can use highlighters, but we write our homework in pencil. So you're using that highlighter to check your answers or highlight important stuff, not to do your homework. So any questions about 59? I would love to go over these, like if you have any issues. Yes, Harrison. B. So we talked about this we talked about this one in class where the halves were able to cancel each other out. But can anyone tell me like how 12 and a half and 25 sort of relate to each other? And I know that's negative 25, but how 12 and a half and 25, there's kind of a relationship there. Since you asked, do you know?
I did like the starting number, so I made 12 and 1 half into a mixed number.
It's already mixed.
Sorry,
you mean improper?
Improper, and it's 25 over 2.
Because 12 and a half is 25 halves. It's half of 25. 12 and a half is half of 25. So if they fight, right, because one's positive and one's negative, the negative is going to win how much is left over the other half of 25, which is 12 and a half. So we end up with negative 12 and a half. Yes?
Is it okay if you put 12.5?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Decimals. I mean, I guess I use decimals down here. All right, moving on to the back. By the way, those of you playing along at home, in case anyone was sick, 325 is actually our homework today because we didn't get to it yesterday. By the way, the food drive is live. Only through like Thursday of next week, though. It's pretty fast. So please bring in that stuff that we talked about last week. The food or personal hygiene stuff. On the back here, as we start 60, we're working on some multiplication and division. Watch out for those signs, right? The trapdoor of the signs. When there's one negative involved, we stay negative. When it's a negative times a negative, we become positive. And no, your homework doesn't need to look exactly like mine. This is just how I think. Like, I don't like division written like this. I like stacked division. So I rewrote it as stacked division. Negative divided by negative gets positive. 36 divided by 9 gets 4. If you are writing your homework in highlighter right now, stop, because I'm not going to accept it. You will have to redo it. I don't know how many times I can say we're not doing our homework right now. We're checking it because it should already be done. If you forgot to do it over the weekend. It's okay. Turn it in Monday. It's not a big deal. But cheating and doing it right now is a big deal. As we get into 61, order of operations. So especially in like part C, double check that addition does not happen first. Like the trap doors, you might have accidentally done 4 plus negative 5. That's not what happens first, because order of operations tells us multiplication comes before. I mean, yes, that also. But like right now, like these aren't done. We're not doing them right now. You can be looking at what I did. Like guys, it's okay that if you didn't get it done yet, you can look at what I did, but then you still gotta go try it on your own to know if you can ride the bike. It's okay if you fall off. I will pick you back up. I got Band-Aids. I got peroxide. I know it hurts, but like we'll take care of you when you fall. That's all part of the process. I got you. But please don't try to cheat your way to it, because then the mastery comes around and it's not good. If you try to cheat your way through, mastery is really not good. D, if we notice that they're exactly the same, except one is negative and one will come out to be positive, they cancel, right? It cancels out. Questions on 61? 62. To add or subtract fractions, we need common denominators. But to multiply, we don't. Multiplication is easier. You just go straight through the top, straight through the bottom. 3 times 2 is 6. 8 times 3 is 24. We can reduce. Monsa? For A is 1/24th? Oh, yeah, but you should reduce if you can. It's just better. It's not wrong, right? It's just like, it's better if you reduce it. And anytime we don't know a number, we can use a variable to represent that, and the most common variable is x. I know math needs like some relationship counseling or something. It's really focused on its x. All right, in 324, some of us in B probably didn't break up the 0.4 and the 0.02 and you just made it 0.42. That's okay. Your homework does not have to look exactly like mine. But if I break this number into as many pieces as possible, there's a 3 piece, a 4/10 piece, and a 200ths piece. I just broke them up to make it kind of easier to work with. But then here I ended up with 5 decimal places. And that's how our answer ends up with 5 decimal places. Because we had 2 decimal places and 3 decimal places. We had 5 in total. Questions on 73? 74, we don't need those boxes because it's just decimal times decimal. They're single digits, right? Like the numbers I need to worry about. The zeros don't really count. Those count as decimal places. But like, what's a negative times a negative? Positive. What's 4 times 1? 4. How many decimal places? 3. So we make sure we give it 3 decimal places. Questions on 74. $75, you could have drawn a picture. I think that's what I did just after I scanned it. I think I ended up drawing a picture last year. Maybe not. I drew a picture for something. Oh yeah, I did. Here, so I don't know why it didn't get on my scan, but a nice way to think through this is like, all right, if you're way up here, 20,335, you go past what we call sea level, which is 0. You go another 282 down, which is like the size of a football field. Think about that like vertically. That's kind of crazy. Football field's 300 feet. So what's the distance between those points? We really end up adding 20,617. Questions on that one? What does mean mean? Anyone tell me the other word that we can use for it, the mathematical mean? Soul? Yeah, it's the average. And if you're doing homework and don't know what something means, ha, ha, ha. Guys, you can go to homework help or you can do like a Google search. If you want to make sure you're getting results related to math, search math and then whatever you want. What is mean in math? How do I find mean? Use your resources. Do not just give up. have a little bit of stick-with-itness. I doubt any of you crashed once on the bike and said, I'm done. That's it. We're never doing this again. Man, I crashed on my bike like a couple years ago. Went straight up over the handlebars because a car ran me off the road. Seriously. You know where like the curb of the road turns into the grass? There was it was missing dirt and stuff. So like this car was coming, it was way too close to me, so I went off the road, but my tire got stuck like right, and I just right up over my handlebars. Dude, yeah, skateboards too. Little rocks will get you.
I went flying in the handlebar.
Uh-huh. Multiplying fractions. I don't want to say the E word, but it's definitely not as difficult as adding them. Straight through the top, straight through the bottom. Questions? All right, does anyone have both of these done so I can use your papers as an example? And I hope there's not only one person with both of these done. Does anyone want to volunteer to have me turn in your papers? Griffin, thank you very much. If both of them are done, here's how you turn your homework in. The oldest paper goes on top so that we can be in order, just because as I'm grading, I'm going like oldest to newest in my grade book. So oldest goes on top. So 3, 2, 3 will go on top. We line up the holes because the holes are always the left side of our paper. If you only have one homework done, stapling will not be necessary. But turn in whatever's done. Please don't turn in what's not done. That's silly. You know it's going to be a check minus. You're going to get it back. You're just going to have to do it next week. Just keep it. Do it over the weekend. So, 3, 2, 3 on top. 3, 2, 4 on bottom. We line up the holes. We line up the holes. Guys, everything I'm about to say, I have seen. So when you think like, who would do that? I've seen it. When you staple, you do not just randomly staple in the middle of the paper. You do not staple on the right side of the paper. How do we staple? Where's the staple go? Just shout it out. Top left. Above where you lined up those holes, a single staple should do it. We do not need to reach the stapler as far into the paper as we can, because then I won't be able to actually look at what's on the other paper, because I've literally seen all of this happen. You do not tape your papers together. That's just why. I have like 5 staplers in here. Once stapled, you put them in the third bin down, because that's us. This bin doesn't have very many papers in it right now, because you guys just got here. This is your bin. Any questions on how we turn in homework? Take a minute or two, turn in what is done. If it's not done, set a to-do list in your head, or write it down on your to-do list. That's in your plan book. / like maybe work on it for a minute while people are turning in their homework. If you're not done, probably try to do a question right now. And then we need this blue paper out. 3, 2, 5. We need this blue paper out. So I want your guys' opinion. Would you rather your homework be printed on just regular white paper, or would you rather me start getting it on colored paper? Kind of a mixed opinions here, I guess. So the one issue with colored paper, it's harder to use highlighter. It's harder to like effectively use a highlighter if the paper itself is colored. It's also slightly more expensive. These are blue because they're left over from last year. I accidentally got 2 sets of them, so that's why these are blue. Who can summarize yesterday's tug of war game for us? So now, the only paper I should see you writing on is the blue one. So any of those white papers, shove them under the blue one, because now it's obvious today's paper is that blue. Who can remind us of how tug of war worked? Mansa? Okay.
One person, one vote, and choose either to divide, add,
Or multiply.
or multiply. And if they did, I'm going to move them up in direction, whichever number they ended up with, some after they added, divided, multiplied, or subtracted.
Love it. So Cynthia and a bunch of other people are playing. Cynthia begins at 15. We're all looking at the blue paper now. She gets a 1 and a -3. Can she win? Like with these numbers, can she win this turn? Talk with your partner. Try to figure out from 15, we're going to move. What could she do with those numbers? Could she add them, subtract them, multiply them, divide them? Could she get back to 11 on this turn? Chat with your partner. I will tell you, she can win. Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
8:30. Sorry, somebody just texted me about tomorrow morning. I don't want to be somewhere at 8:30 tomorrow morning. Oh, by the way, pancake breakfast tomorrow. I can't come to it because I am busy. I'm helping friends move. But yeah. Gotta love random cards. Anna, did you figure out how she can win? Van, did you figure out how she can win?
No.
Soul?
Yes.
Yeah, Soul. What can we do with these numbers? So wait, you said do -3 minus the 1. Oh! Guys, what's -3 minus 1? And Soul figured out we need -4 to win. Boom, she wins. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Devin is on 1. Devin is on +1. If he spins a 4 and a -3, how can he win? I'm going to straight up tell you he can. Figure out how. Guys, we got to review a couple of these before I am confident to play you again, because I feel like it's kind of unfair. Like when we're playing against each other. Callum, got any thoughts about how Devin could win? He's on 1. He's got to move. What could we do with those numbers? Jay, got any thoughts? Okay, what are you thinking? Let's talk it out together. So if we divide, it's not going to be a whole number. And we got to use like integers. We can't use decimals or fractions. So I don't know about division. Let's talk out that multiplication. What is 4 times -3? What's 4 times -3, guys? -12. What's 1 plus -12? -11, right? Gavin, you know what? Forget about Gavin. Let's just play. But y'all have to work together today. Here's how this is working today. Every spin will be a different person who gets to make the decision. Again, just like a game show, you are welcome to shout out suggestions. The person making the decision is welcome to ignore you. 4. They can take your suggestions. So, Kyra, what color would you like? You get the important job of pick the color. Purple. I'll take green then. You want to go first or second? Sure. -2 and 3, I'm going to multiply those and go -6. Kyra, 1 and -2. What do you want to do with those? Where should we land? So right now there's no real wrong decision because you're in the middle. People can shout out ideas if you have them, but she can't win right now, I don't think. So I heard subtract from the back. What would it be if it's 1 minus -2? What's 1 minus -2? -3? +3, because 1 minus -2. Minus negative becomes plus, right? Ooh, if we did -2 minus 1, yeah, so do you want to get to +3 or -3? It's kind of seems like your option. Sure. So Kyra's doing the 1 minus -2. She's getting to +3. So it's gonna be Callum's turn after I go. 1 and is that positive or negative? +3. I went negative direction. This is sticky. I'm gonna subtract. I'm gonna do 1 minus 3. What's 1 minus 3? -2. So I'm gonna get to -8. Callum, your numbers are -2 and -2. What is -2 times -2? +4.
I say multiply.
So he's going to multiply. -2 times -2 is +4. Takes him to 7. Soul, it's going to be your turn after I go. 1 and 2. I hate my spins right now. I do not like that I went the negative direction. I'm going to subtract again and just do 1 minus 2. And just get -1. I'm just going to keep kind of chipping my way there. Soul! Ooh, do you want to tap him? Just one at a time. Just give a little poke.
Let's go Soul.
-2 and 3. This is a very quiet audience. Now wait, what did you do? You got to tell us what you did. So you meant +3 minus -2. I'm with you. Yeah, so Soul said 3 minus -2. What would 3 minus -2 give us? +5. So Soul went from 7 up to 12. We all get, you're almost there. All right, I got to try to win right now because otherwise I think Soul just about closed it out for you guys. 1 and I do not like my spins. I'm going to do 0 minus 1. Ooh, we're both 1 away though. We're kind of tied up. Harrison, you want to come up?
No, thank you.
Okay, your numbers are -2 and 0. Can Harrison win? I don't think so, but Harrison, what do you want to do? Oh, you could multiply and just stay where you are. Okay, multiply. Anything times 0 is 0. -2 and 2. I can win. How can I win? -2 divided by 2 is what? -1. Have a great weekend, guys.
This is the best math class ever.
I love that game. Like that, it's just a fun, like just play with the numbers, figure out how we could put them together. Like